Silent Hill 2's foggy streets and unsettling atmosphere are back with the Silent Hill 2 remake, and the stakes are higher than ever. Bloober Team has reimagined this horror classic, bringing psychological tension and fear into 4K detail. But does it stay true to the original's haunting essence? In this full review, we're diving into every aspect from gameplay mechanics to visuals to the sound effects to see if this remake captures what made Silent Hill 2 a genre-defining experience. Let's begin with the story and concept where the dark heart of Silent Hill beats strongest. In Silent Hill 2, players take on the role of James Sunderland, a man haunted by a letter from his deceased wife, leading him to the fog-laden streets of Silent Hill. Bloober Team has preserved the depth and somber tones of the original narrative, breathing life into its story through stunning visual updates and meticulously designed environments. The remake respects the game's thematic elements of guilt, grief, and human fragility. The story remains immersive, pulling you deeper with each eerie discovery and moment of quiet dread. After completing the game and unlocking the Maria ending, I was surprised by the outcome. Without giving anything away, it was a bittersweet ending that left me curious about the 7 other endings, 2 of which are new to this remake. Each ending feels like a piece of the overall puzzle, adding replayability to explore different fates for James. This layered storytelling is what makes Silent Hill 2 so impactful. It invites players to dive deeper into its psychological horror through multiple perspectives. Now jumping into gameplay, because in a horror game, every movement and mechanic matters, and the remake keeps the same third-person perspective, but sharpens the controls, allowing for more precision and responsiveness, particularly in combat. James's movements feel more natural, and combat encounters are challenging yet rewarding. Players need to analyze enemy behavior and time attacks carefully to avoid taking damage, making strategic thinking a key part of survival. The puzzles have been engaging and well balanced. I enjoyed solving them because they're integrated naturally into the environment. So whether you're deciphering a cryptic message on a wall or tracking down items to access new areas, the structure of the game lets you revisit areas across the map, which sometimes give the illusion of backtracking, but every time you return, there's something new, whether it be a key item, a freshly spawned enemy, or maybe an enemy that you killed has now come back to life, or a door that can now be unlocked, keeping the experience fresh and immersive. Now, stepping into the eerie aesthetics of Silent Hill, because the visuals are everything here. Typically, I gravitate towards performance mode at 60 FPS to get smoother gameplay, but this time around, I opted for fidelity mode to experience the game's full graphical potential in 4K. The results were worth it. Bloober Team's dedication to enhancing every small detail, from cracks in the streets to reflections in rain puddles, is apparent. The lighting, shadows, and realistic fog movement keep you in a constant state of suspense because you literally can't see what's in front of you, you can only hear it, which makes it even more eerie. For anyone wondering, the performance mode targets 60 FPS, but in my experience, it didn't feel consistently smooth enough to compromise the visual quality in fidelity mode, and the game played fine in 4K 30 frames. The game's graphical fidelity is quite astounding. The fog is beautifully integrated, moving and shifting to create an atmosphere that's highly unsettling and unpredictable. Lighting also plays a huge role as well. You can only see what your flashlight illuminates, and in the darkest areas, you're truly left with a sense of isolation and dread. So between the fine details and 4K visuals, The environment is both breathtaking and oppressive, a perfect fit for Silent Hill's haunted atmosphere. Time to crank up the volume because the audio here is spine-chilling. So whether you're using your TV audio, surround sound, or you're using headphones, you're gonna really enjoy the soundtrack. The soundscape in Silent Hill 2 Remake is unsettling, creating an ambient horror experience that's hard to forget. The original's atmospheric sounds are intensified with every creak, footstep, and ominous groan pulling you further into the horror. The DualSense controller plays a huge part in amplifying that tension. Haptic feedback pulsates when James is near danger, vibrating like a heartbeat when his health is low, or even when it's raining outside, you can actually feel the raindrops through the controller. I know that might sound a little over the top or dramatic, but trust me, when you play it, you can actually feel like it feels very accurate. As enemies approach, radio static crackles from the controller's speaker, making it feel like the sound is coming from a device in James's pocket. The subtle detail adds an immersive, foreboding effect that complements the entire experience. Now, let's look at who's going to get the most out of this chilling journey. Silent Hill 2 Remake is a must for fans of psychological horror and anyone drawn to dark, narrative-driven games. It stays faithful to the original's intent, delivering an atmospheric experience tailored for longtime fans while inviting new players to discover the franchise. With updated graphics, sound, and immersive DualSense features, it's essentially perfect for horror enthusiasts seeking a deeply unsettling, story-rich experience. I was pleasantly surprised by the game's length and depth. Silent Hill 2 Remake offers plenty to explore, especially if you aim to collect every memo, strange photo, and glimpse scattered across Silent Hill. This naturally adds hours to the experience without feeling like mindless backtracking. Revisiting previous areas often brings new enemies, key items, or discoveries that feel like an organic part of the game's world. This approach gives players a reason to thoroughly explore each area. Now onto the pacing, because how the story and action unfold really impacts the experience. The game's pace is one of its greatest strengths. The slow burn narrative steadily builds tension, with moments of horror punctuated by quiet exploration, perfectly timed jump scares, and an ongoing sense of dread. The opening might feel a bit slow, but it does quickly pick up, keeping you engaged with a strong balance of combat, exploration, and puzzle solving. You'll need to manage your healing items carefully along with your ammo, and approach fights strategically as enemy encounters require attention to attack patterns and dodging. And now let's talk about the heart of this game, the emotion and atmosphere. And the eerie charm of Silent Hill 2 Remake is hard to overstate. From the gripping storyline to the visual and audio enhancements, every element is designed to pull you into James's tormented mind. The fog-filled streets, the disturbing sound design, and the horrifying encounters evoke a sense of anxiety that stays with you long after you finish the game. It's an experience that lingers, making you feel as though you're navigating a world that's both surreal and terrifyingly real. Now, is Silent Hill 2 Remake enjoyable despite the terror it inflicts? And the fun here isn't in the traditional sense. It's about immersion and thrill. The game's design compels you to keep moving forward, uncovering more layers of horror and mystery. It's a different kind of fun, one that comes from tension and curiosity and leaves you constantly on edge. If you're a fan of atmospheric horror, this game nails it. And I gotta say, even if you're just a fan of great video games and you can handle some horror, you should give this game a chance. Now let's briefly touch on the game's length, because in a game this intense, pacing matters, and the game offers about 16 to 18 hours for a typical first-time playthrough, and if you're going for all 8 endings and aiming to 100% it, it's closer to 30 hours. There's also a New Game Plus mode, which adds even more depth, On New Game Plus, you'll find new items and new weapons that I won't mention, plus extra documents and memos scattered across various locations that help unlock additional endings. This replayability factor is a great addition, especially for fans who want to see all the different narrative outcomes. Right now, I don't have time to go through and see all 8 endings, but I do like the fact that this is there because this gives me a reason to return back to this maybe next year in October and play through this game again to get some of the other endings. Finally, let's discuss Silent Hill 2 Remake's place in gaming history and its potential impact. For me, Silent Hill 2's legacy lies in its mastery of atmosphere. I think it's the most atmospherically impressive game I've ever played, drawing you into a believable horror world with its 4K graphics, dense fog, and haunting soundtrack. Every element, from the limited flashlight visibility to the haptic feedback on the DualSense controller, works together to create an intense experience that I don't think any other horror game has been able to match. This remake cements Silent Hill 2 as a masterpiece in horror gaming and sets a new bar for immersive storytelling. Alright guys, now to give you my final thoughts. Silent Hill 2 Remake has delivered a chilling, immersive experience that honors the original's legacy while making use of new generation hardware. It's a remake that pulls you back into Silent Hill's twisted world with precision and care, from the fog-laden streets to the dynamic haptic feedback. If you're a fan of horror games or psychological storytelling, or again, just great video games, this game is hard to ignore, and I highly recommend it. As always, thanks so much for watching this review of Silent Hill 2 Remake. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to ThunderStash Gaming for more reviews, first impressions, and gaming content. And let me know in the comments if you've played the remake or what your favorite Silent Hill memory is. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and don't forget, hit that notification bell so you'll know when my next video drops. Till next time, remember, you're never too old to play video games.